Commonwealth of Dominica for safekeeping. Therefore, by the time this video is aired, the evidence will be in the possession of the Attorney General of Dominica. Mindful that this broadcast may reach non-Dominicans, I would also like to put the following on record. First, the opposition lost the 2005 election, so fortunately none of the 6 persons, including one client that was subsequently convicted for financial fraud in the US in 2006 and spent 96 months in federal prison, were ever appointed. 2, the events previously mentioned took place a number of years ago. And 3, the Caribbean has learned a difficult lesson from the negative publicity surrounding the sale of diplomatic passports. And as far as I am aware, no Caribbean government or political party is presently involved in selling diplomatic passports. My fellow Dominicans, we are a vibrant and colorful people that will always have differences, politically and otherwise. I am an independent businessman, not aligned to any political party. I have not been paid or induced in any way to make the statements that I'm making now. My only motivation is disgust with persons who are seeking to destroy the good name of Dominica for political gain. Notwithstanding our differences, we should all put country before party and find ways to complement each other in order to bring development and prosperity to our people. We are on the road to recovery. We are on the road to development for ourselves and our children. However, this road is bumpy with steep, dangerous pitfalls. So we will need to work with each other to get to the place we want to go. Let us renew the spirits of our forebears and together demand that our government and opposition work together like the collaborative competitors our forebears envisioned. A progressive and responsible government with a disciplined and responsible opposition that will keep the government's hands on the steering wheel. We are blessed with a beautiful island with talented and concerned citizens at home and abroad that deeply care about our island. We already possess everything we need to develop our island. All we need to do is to begin to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Sam Raphael, in the statement that everybody has been talking about since it was announced about 9:20 this morning. We played it for the first time. Mr. Lennox Linton is in the house. I can tell you he's not my next guest, but I suspect his gloves are off and are ready to go this afternoon to respond to Mr. Sam Raphael. But I promised you yesterday, and we're going to take him for half an hour. He was here last week, and he said, Madam, I'm willing to come back. And he's here, leaving the state any day now. The former ambassador, Mr. Crispin Gregoire, is our guest for the next half an hour, and then Lennox Linton will be the next batsman. Good afternoon to you, Crispin. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Matt. I'm doing good. First of all, let me just say that I wish to thank all the people of Dominica who were quite generous with the sympathy on behalf of my the passing of my mom. And
I heard she was laid to rest yesterday.
Yes, she was, and you know, it's adjusting to life without her is going to be an interesting next phase of my life. But nonetheless, I appreciate greatly all the expressions of sympathy from Dominica across the Caribbean and outside in diaspora. And this has really served to help my family adjust and cope with the loss. Thank you.
And again, our deepest sympathies on behalf of the management and staff of Q95. What is next for Crispin?
Well, Matt, you know, and it's like also another phase of my life. You know, I mentioned last time I turned 60, so you know, I'm sort of in the senior citizens category now, if you will. However, you know, different things, Matt. One is, you know, I continue to do philanthropic work, you know, been doing quietly philanthropic work here, supporting young footballers. I've been supporting the Pottersville Youth Football Academy and other football academies in the country. Every year I contribute footballs to the academies and hope to deepen the relationship with many of them. I've sort of adopted Grand Fond as, you know, sort of another place to work with the people doing football development in the Grand Fond. I'm quite impressed with that community, and they benefited already from contributions of football, so they're going to get some more from us. And then I want to shift towards doing some more NGO type of work in the country. As you know,
that's how you started, right?
That's how I started. Most of my life has been at the NGOs. And then I will continue to work with the indigenous people of the Caribbean, especially the Kalinagos here. And, you know, so there are a number of things, Matt, that I think. And I also am beginning to dabble in agriculture as a farmer. I do farm a little bit, and I hope I can get into agro industry in this country in time to come.
Well, again, we're very happy to have you. You've not been doing too much of the following of the reports, though, this week. I know.
Well, you know,
I
purposely didn't listen to the talk shows since that day I was on, because, you know, I went into mourning that same night, and, you know, I really, frankly, to be honest, I haven't listened to the talk shows. But people have been telling me that different kind of responses to what I've said. And I expect that on both sides of the political divide that there would be comments pro and con. And Matt, you know, I've been in this business long enough to not to be bothered by those who are con. And then, you know, I try when I speak to educate the public. You know, I'm not just there to say crazy things. I'm very measured in what I say, and but I think that some of the things I said did provoke a lot of discussion, and I'm very happy about that.
All right, I want to play you one particular clip which seemed to have surfaced a lot during the course of the week here.
Yeah.
Let's listen to you, Crispin, last week.
Yeah. Labour Party, there's a tendency to turn on each other.
Just a simple 10-second clip.
Yes.
How much truth you put into this?
Well, I was speaking more specifically to the Labour Party when I was talking. You know, the Labour Party has had a history of internal infighting. Sometimes it doesn't. It never goes beyond. It just simmers under the table, under the radar. Other times it bursts out into the open. There's been a lot. You know. It's probably a good time to sort of look back at the Labour Party in office from 2000 to now. It has gone through a series of changes. One, of course, you know, with the demise of Rosie Douglas, then followed by Pierre Charles, and then the party ending up led by Prime Minister Skerrit. The party has gone through some changes. But Matt, I'll tell you, one of the things that concerned me from the very beginning, even when Rosie Douglas became the Prime Minister, is that the cabinet became the superstructure of the party. And that's a very unfortunate development. So that people who were just picked, who just came into the equation, are now kings and dictating what the party should do when they're just cabinet people. They're elected, yes, but they don't own the party. The party belongs to those people who built it. And so that those of us who spent 20 years building that Labour Party were suddenly found ourselves being gradually pushed out from having any stake in the party. And really what you have now is a party with a lot of popular support, but organizationally very, very weak and seemingly moving in an undemocratic direction. And that concerns me about the Labour Party.
All right, I'm going to take your phone calls very early. I know a lot of you may be trying to contact Crispin for the past week. He's here and will be with us, say, for the next 15 minutes. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon, sir.
Accept my sympathy and our sympathy on behalf of Kalinago people.
Yes, sir.
Because you worked tirelessly here with us. You gave us the Kabe, you gave us Jolly Johns, you gave us water, you gave us scholarships, you just gave. And we have to thank you for staying here in the Kalinago territory and develop the Carib territory. And as you rightly said, you still continue to work with us, and I want to invite you to come up to the Kalinago territory to do some more work, because we need more development in the Carib territory. I want to wish you well, and as you said, go into mourning, but please accept our sympathy. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Tell us about that relationship. It's obvious that you've had a long-lasting relationship with the Kalinago people. You're very close to them.
Oh yes, I am very close to them. Matt, you know, when I returned here in 1984 from university, from graduate school, I was fortunate to get a job to be the director of, the first Dominican director of Save the Children, the American Save the Children, and the focus of the program was the Kalinago people. So I worked with them for 5 years. We did some very interesting work. First of all, I helped connect them with native peoples in the U.S. and other parts. And at that time, you know, it was an interesting period because the sort of Carib nationalist sentiment was high. You're talking about people like Irving Ogist, Garnet Joseph, who became the chief later on, Chief Charles Williams. All of these people were very active when I was working there in the 80s. I came in 1984, and that 5 years, we did some significant work. For example, you know, when I went, I'd never slept in the Carib territory all the 5 years I worked there, you know. And when I was here in last year, July, working on this film project that we hope to complete in maybe next year, I managed to stay there overnight, and it was, you know, just seeing the sunrise. I'd never seen the sunrise in the Carib territory before. That was just stunning. And then, you know, I went to see some of the projects that I had worked on, like Jolly John Park. I cut that park for the Carib people. The Concord water supply, which supplies water to both sides of the river in Concord, that was a Save the Children project, which still is functioning today. We had built the Cabe, which unfortunately burnt, but we were pushing Carib crafts both locally and internationally. We had the concept of building an eco museum for the Caribs, but then I ran into trouble with the then government of Eugenia Charles, and she basically closed down Save the Children, and that's how I phased out. But that was
interesting there. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon, man.
Yes.
And good afternoon, Ambassador Regba.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Paul Joseph. I have tried to be in contact with you off air.
Oh, your phone call.
Yeah, but I am pleased to be in contact with you. Let me, at this point in time, on behalf of myself, my family, and the Nation and Kingdom Building broadcast, of which I am host, extend our sympathies and our condolences to you and your family. I believe that you are a patriotic Dominican. You have served Dominica well, and I wish you all the best. And I do know for sure, knowing the level of your patriotism, you would let us down. So be of good cheer and be of good courage. The good Lord will see you through. God bless you and your family.
Thank you, Paul. And you know, I must say that this next, you know, period will be more of charitable work, philanthropic work, and working to build local organizations and institutions. Whatever way I can contribute. You know, it was an honor to serve Dominica at the UN, and I learned a lot, and I think Dominica benefited quite a bit from my tenure.
A lot of people are commenting, Ambassador, about our current relationship, if you will, at the UN at this time. We're sort of comparing and contrasting. Where are we in terms of that relationship with the UN at this point in time? Because the last time you were here, you had some concern about the UN office being used to, you know, register people to vote in Dominica, the diaspora. What are your own concerns about that?
Yeah. Well, Matt, just a few things about the UN mission to the UN. I think I'm one of the few people who can speak, you know, very...
with authority.
With authority about it. The first thing I would say is that Dominica has the smallest UN mission of all the CARICOM countries. We only have one diplomat, that's the ambassador. it just doesn't cut it. I mean, you know, it's too much work for one person. And if you're not clever in terms of how you're going to service such a big institution by yourself, then you know it will be a serious drain on your energy levels all the time. And that was what happened to me. I got sick one time. You know, it's just too much work for one person. I think Dominica could do better. I think it requires political will to appoint another person there to help the ambassador, because there's no way that the ambassador can do it. The ambassador doesn't even have a driver. Of all the CARICOM countries, we are the only country that don't have a driver in New York. And we only have one ambassador. What I used to do, and that came from my background being in the non-governmental, non-profit world, is that I reached out to universities like Yale University in particular and Columbia University, where I went to school, and asked them for graduate students as interns. So these are students doing their masters, and they're very happy to get that experience of like being part of a delegation of a country in the UN. So I did that, and that's how I did the work. So I farmed it out to interns. Some of them are doing their masters, some of them are doing their PhDs, and they never would ever dream of an opportunity like that to be, you know, of the delegation of a member state. So that was good. We did some interesting work. Like, for example, Matt, you know, Dominica did have a leadership role under me on decolonization, on the issue of indigenous people, on the issue of disabilities. You know, I was very active in these free arenas, as well as other things like the International Criminal Court, which Dominica was one of the early members of CARICOM in that. One of the things that happened while I was there was the electing of the judges, the first set of judges for the International Criminal Court. We were part of that. Not every CARICOM country had that possibility because they did not join the court that early. But as far as it goes now, from me, as I said last time, the thing that bothered me is that I was not allowed to pass on my knowledge and experience working in the UN as an ambassador to my successor. My successor simply didn't want to avail himself of that.
That was Mr. Vince Anderson.
Yes, Mr. Vince Anderson, yes. He didn't talk to me the entire time he was the ambassador. He knew it all, so he didn't need me. And that's fine. But Matt, I'll tell you, right, the only way countries succeed in foreign policy is through a certain level of continuity. Because, you know, there are no permanent friends in international politics. There are permanent interests. We have certain interests, right? And the UN is a great place to pursue these interests. But one of the things I quickly learned is that Prime Minister Skerrit, the UN is not of interest to him. He's only been to the UN
You don't think so?
No, not at all. He's only been to the UN 2 times in his entire tenure as Prime Minister. 2 times, Matt. Does that show any commitment? And then, you know, he sends surrogates, which is disturbing. He sends the president of Dominica to represent him at the UN. That's a non-starter, really, because frankly, he's not the head of government. The president is not the head of government. So he can't participate in the discourse that goes on among heads of government when they come to the UN in September. So to send the president to represent you just doesn't cut it. And I wish that we could change that. Ralph Gonsalves would never miss going to the UN every year. Never. You understand? And all the other prime ministers, if they don't go, something quite extenuating would have to be why they don't go. But our man here, he doesn't go. The UN is not important to him. And consequently, he puts people at the UN who are not competent.
Why do you think so? I mean,
I don't know. I really don't know, Matt. I couldn't understand it. You understand? So I would never recommend to any prime minister to miss going to the UN General Assembly. You can miss a year, you know, Matt. There's nothing. But when you've been, how long has this guy been prime minister?
Almost 2 terms and a little
2014
yes.
to now. 2010, 2004 to now. 13 years. The guy has only been there twice. All right? So I don't know when next he will go. But we'll ask him. Will he go to the UN this September? Ask him that question, Matt.
If I get the chance.
And I don't think he will go because under the cloud that he is now, you know, Matt, I should say, right, that the Dominica's foreign policy is in total shambles right now. And I really think that the government must...
Did you get a chance to listen to Lennox Linton on the weekend making revelations?
Only a little bit because, you know, I got tied up in prayers.
Our own relationship with This guy there?
Ali Reza Monfared.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure that's another book. That's another book to write, because that one, that chapter is still unfolding, because we don't know yet what Monfared has told the Iranian National Guards about this government, because he would have some deep insights to share with them, especially the whining and dining in Langkawi, in Rolls Royce, taking a ride in a Rolls Royce, and being wined and dined. And unfortunately, they moved to taint Dr. Daru. I was so sorry to see that happen. You know, Dr. Daru is a good guy, a good politician, aspiring politician, and you know, he comes from my part of the country. And Dr. Daru was unfortunately taken to Langkawi, and they humiliated him, which is what, when I talk about turning on each other, they had Nanton as head of delegation and Dr. Daru as just a member. No, Dr. Daru is the minister. He has a higher rank than Nanton as an ambassador. So Dr. Daru should be heading that delegation. So, but they took him to wine and dine him, to have him associated to what they knew was not correct, which was, I'm sure Dr. Daru probably didn't even know that Ali Reza Monfared had a passport, and a diplomatic passport, that is. And the same thing, I would like to say the same thing to Peter Seja. I'm sure he didn't know, because he seems to know a lot of things.
I heard he was on a trip with you sometime ago?
Yeah, he was on a trip, and I heard him saying about how the reason why it's not because of Roosevelt Skerrit that I didn't run, is because I have some secret. Well, Mr. Seja is involved. Isn't he a pastor, Matt? Something like that?
He should be.
Well, he must have
top church official.
If he's so, if he has such credentials, he should come out and say what the secret is, because I don't know what secret is.
You have no secret, Peter?
No.
None.
I was ready to run, and I was not supported. So.
But I want to go back quickly to the UN as it relates to, you know, that office being used.
Yes. Two things about the UN. One, you know, it's also a place that Morocco is using Dominica on the Western Sahara issue. They're giving Dominica little gifts like some fertilizer from occupied territory. That fertilizer doesn't come from Morocco, you know, it comes from occupied territory. And pretty soon, one of these days, we might well hear that one of the boats bringing fertilizer to Dominica has been seized somewhere. That's what's been happening, Matt, in the last 2-3 months. That the Saharans are now using the courts to stop these ships from carrying their resources illegally. And the fertilizer that comes here is coming here illegally from occupied territory. But the second point you raised about using the consulate and the mission to do the dirty work of recruiting diaspora people to come and vote, yes, that went on. And Matt, you know, that was one of the things that I got, I was very upset about, and I stated in writing to the permanent secretary that...
You made it clear? I
made it clear that it was wrong for an office that is funded by taxpayers to be involved in partisan aspects relating to electoral practices.
So that's in black and white?
That is in black and white. And the consulate and the mission were involved. Certainly not under me. The mission under me we were not in that. But but the consulate was doing that. You know, there are 2 offices in one. And then they went to town in 2009. I mean, the whole charter operations were out of that office in New York.
Wow. Let's take a phone call. We have a few more minutes with Ambassador Crispin. He'll be leaving sometime this afternoon in terms of leaving this space. Hello, talk to me. 4493095. If you have any question to ask, now is the time to ask that question. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Matt Peltier, how are you?
I'm here.
I just want to big up my partner, Mr. Crispin Gregoire. Let me just express my condolences to him. He was my manager when we used to work with Save the Children Federation in Dominica. Very brilliant young man. And also touching my brother from Marigot in the house, Brother Lennox Linton. I'm listening, brother. Dominica have problem, boys.
All right, hold tight. Hello, talk to me. Somebody's on the telephone, but paying attention to the computer.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, Matt. Crispin, Clayton Silver.
Hello, Clayton.
Let me express, as the other people have done, my condolences to you, sir. And
Thank you very much.
Very attentively to your pronouncements and your statements this afternoon. They are absolutely on target and very much appreciative of your other contributions to building of the nation of Dominica. Let me ask you, Crispin, this debate that is going on right now about this passport selling, more particularly the question of the diplomatic passports. I've heard two versions. One version is what the Dominica Labour Party has done, and then Sam Raphael has come on and has said that the United Workers' Party attempted a similar thing. Now, what I wanted to find out is, if these so-called passport transactions were taking place and monies were going not into the governmental coffers, but diverted into either support of campaign or going into the pockets of private individuals, is there the possibility of illegality in these practices? Because if there is the possibility of illegality in these practices, I am certainly willing to look to see how lawyers can bring certain persons before the courts for doing these kinds of things. I'm not a lawyer myself, but I cannot believe that a national treasure can be sold out there and that the monies can go into an account that is controlled by Nantan down there in Portsmouth. I cannot believe that a practice like that can be legal. Now, I listened to your questions relating to standards of performance in our foreign relations. Obviously, that is a shambles. You also stated that your successor was not interested in getting a handover from you. You also said that the Prime Minister is not interested in the activities in the United Nations. I find all of this, and I assume that what you have said is factual, I find all of this very, very distressing, that we could have a government that doesn't understand that it has a role to play in the world, and that role is not to be restricted to selling passports all over the place. It is shame on us, sir, that we are in this state in the country.
All right. I'll tell you what, because of the time limitations, you want to respond directly?
Yes. Well, you know, this whole diplomatic passport fiasco has been going on for some time, and you know, we first got to know about this in 2005 with Susan Oldie, and we still haven't gotten the full story of that, because I'm still waiting, Matt, for the organization, the Citizens for Better Dominica, to table with the registrar their financial statement, because by law, the law under which they were registered under the Companies Act, Company Limited by Guarantee, a non-profit, they're supposed to table their financial statement to the registrar for the public of Dominica to see. Now, they've never done that. And I'm still saying to them that they have a responsibility and obligation to do that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it is illegal to traffic in diplomatic passports. There's a clever way in which it's being done, Matt. You know, it's not like, you know, somebody just comes and buys a passport. It's typically, well, you know, we could give you a passport if you do some representation for us, but you can make a contribution to the party. That's typically the approach. That's the modus operandi. And these people...
Why are these folks... Make it clear. Why do they want it so much, this diplomatic passport?
Well, they think, you know, that's they don't even understand that they don't even know why they want it, because it doesn't give them immunity. That's why they want it. They want it for immunity reasons, so that they can do trafficking, or whether money laundering or drugs or whatever. So they're businessmen, and that is why, you know, under the Vienna Convention of 1961, which established the rules for diplomatic privileges and immunities, that businessmen are not supposed to be diplomats. If you're a businessman and you elect to take a diplomatic post, you have to take time off from your business to do that. You cannot mix apples and oranges.
Let's take another phone call, our final for the afternoon, then we'll move to part number 2. Hello.
Matt.
And
good afternoon, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gregory, I want to agree with you in certain areas while you were speaking, because these are the things I have noticed with the government, and I've been advocating that all the time. For an example, you have people like Nanton. People did not vote for Nanton. And these are the guys who run things. When you watch people like the minister you just mentioned from Petit Savan, you know what I'm saying? These are the guys people vote for. I don't have a problem with them personally, do not take me wrong. But when you watch the people that representing Dominica and people did not vote it for them, is they are running things, you know. And you have the power reps now under pressure. And that is why I have always had that problem. It cannot be right. People don't vote for them people, and it's they are running things, and that is the chief. Those things need to stop. Thank you, Mr. Gregoire.
Thank you. We have to, at this point in time, kind of wrap it up because we wish we could have continued all afternoon. I know you're a very busy man and you're going to make a stop with us sometime in the near future.
Matt,
we want to wish you all the best, though.
Well, Matt, thanks
Any
a lot.
closing comments?
Well, I just want to say, I hope that we can have a peaceful next 6 months, because we are still in the throes of an unstable phase. Without electoral reform, this country will be unstable, Matt. And I hope that the authorities, especially the Electoral Commission, listens to reason. And that is, they must take steps to implement the recommendations of the Commonwealth Elections Observer Mission and the 2 observer missions of the OAS. And I just want to say, to add further, that the global public is paying attention to what's happening. Taking note. So if those people on the Electoral Commission want to keep pussyfooting and not doing the work of the Dominican people, then they should leave. They should make their exit. But don't let the country slide into instability because we don't want to have elections of integrity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you. This is Q9 to 5. As we said, the opposition leader, I suspect he has his gloves off. Now we're out for a big afternoon this afternoon. Stick around. Let's listen to that request from Sam Raphael some time ago.
I'll say this now, and this is not to attack the opposition, but to put them to make them stop and think. The opposition party, Sam Raphael is stating, he was present when the opposition party at the highest level sold diplomatic passports. Let me finish. Well, they took the money, right, for diplomatic passports from 6 individuals who wired monies to Dominica that funded the UW campaign in 2005 to the tune of over 3 million, and in the same vein in 2009. What do people think? Where do you think they get the pillau from? Or the chicken, or the t-shirts and so on to run, and all the buses and so on, was it corrupt for the UWP to sell? And I haven't been in the loop, so I don't know. I have to presume, without campaign finance laws, that both sides are fighting fire with fire. So to go out on the international media and to broadcast and to raise the issue that there's an allegation, smoke, maybe there's fire, that this administration sold diplomatic when you know your party. No, for a fact, because the financial records are there. He is aware that it happened, because I asked the,
Was he involved then?
At the time, involved in the party, I don't know, at some point. Was he the leader of the party at that time? No, but you're absolving yourself of responsibility, because a party is not one man. A party is an organization, and if you know there's a history of corruption in your organization, the first thing to do, is to speak to that and to sort of reconcile that in all honesty before you go attacking the other guy or having dirty laundry.
Being the leader of the United Workers' Party at this time, I have made inquiries of the people who ought to have known what was going on at the time and what is it that this gentleman could really be talking about. And none of them know anything about any plan, any offer, any agreement to sell diplomatic passports to anybody at all. That is why I have asked for Sam Raphael to present the evidence, not the talk, not the hearsay, not the I say so, the evidence that there was an agreement, a plan, MOU, or whatever to sell for the United Workers' Party to sell diplomatic passports. On a pay now, you will get the passport later plan. I am saying from the inquiries I have made, because I'm saying back in those days, I wasn't that way involved in the affairs of the United Workers' Party. I was simply a supporter of the party at the time, as I have been since 1988. And now, in my new role, it is incumbent on me to know or to find out what was going on, especially when these wild allegations are being made by people who claim to know.
All right, we heard, of course, Sam this morning, and I was asking the opposition leader whether he wanted to hear again. I'm sure you listen over and over all the time, and because of time limitations, we will not allow it to be played at this time, maybe later. But Lennox Linton, good afternoon to you. How are you?
Good afternoon, Matt Peltier. I'm doing well. Good afternoon to the people of Concord and Marigot, the people of Dominica, our brothers and sisters at home and abroad. Thank you for inviting me, Matt.
You've heard Mr. Sam Raphael presenting what he says was the evidence. What is your response, Lennox? You listened attentively.
Matt Peltier, Lennox Linton, as leader of the United Workers' Party, has been under consistent, vicious attack from Sam Raphael since I appeared on CBS News 60 Minutes.
January
1st of 2017. The attacks have continued. The attacks went up to Brooklyn, to Sam Raphael's town hall there. The attacks came back down to Dominica when you invited Mr. Raphael to your program. And Mr. Raphael is not concerned about the United Workers' Party individuals that he was involved with, you know, back in the day. If you notice, up till now, not one single name has been called. The only name that you hear being called over and over and over again is the name of Lennox Linton. So this is a man who is on a mission to destroy the United Workers' Party under the leadership of Lennox Linton. So it is the United Workers' Party under the leadership of Lennox Linton that he wants to destroy.
Is there something personal going on, sir?
You listen to Sam Raphael, Matt, and that is why the media needs to do its own assessment and analysis. If the media assesses the statements that have been coming from Sam Raphael in recent times, the media will clearly come away with the truth and fact that this is something personal against Lennox Linton. And the fact that he is the leader of the United Workers' Party at this time. So he will not succeed. So the party, he and the party under him will be destroyed. Why? Because the Labour Party wants it that way. And the Labour Party obviously has cut a deal with Sam Raphael. You will get debt forgiveness of over $6 million on the Jungle Bay property where you owed the state and did not pay over $6 million. The government was in court with Sam Raphael. The government backed out of the court case, so Sam Raphael would have no obligation on repaying the $6.5 million. That does not belong to the individual ministers of the government. Does not belong to Skerrit. That money belongs to the people of Dominica. And Sam Raphael has entered into a deal with the government not to pay back the people's $6.5 million or thereabout, hold it for himself, keep that benefit for himself.
This is a serious allegation there. I'm asking.
No, but what is the serious allegation, Matt?
A serious allegation that you're saying hold it for him.
No.
They've told him hold it for himself.
But Matt, obviously that is what is before us. Mr. Raphael came on your program and told you that the government did not have an enforceable judgment against him. He found all sorts of legal loopholes to exonerate himself from the debt responsibility. The same man who is telling the people of Dominica he has no party interest, it is country first. If you were country first, Sam Raphael, your obligation would be to pay back your debt to the people of Dominica and not to run rings around successive administrations and find legal loopholes to remove yourself from the responsibility. And even after Tropical Storm Erica hit, and you received over $4 million in an insurance settlement, you refused to put even 1 red cent towards the amortization of that debt. And you hypocritically come to the nation today to tell them that you're concerned about the public interest. You're concerned about political parties in government and in opposition working together, when in fact all you're concerned about is your greed and your self-interest. And what is in this for you personally, Sam Raphael? So the millions are piling up. You have over $6 million in debt forgiveness. You have over $4 million in an insurance settlement, none of which went to pay the debt. And now you're standing in line, waiting for another set of millions from the sale of Dominican passports. Free money to you to go and build your cottages and your villas at Monakuma, while you pretend that it's the public interest you are concerned about. Matt Peltier, I've gotten to the stage I don't believe anything this gentleman says. He's on a mission to destroy, and he will do whatever it takes to destroy the United Workers' Party under the leadership of Lennox Linton. And you know me, I'm a straight shooter. I call it as I see it. I'm not about to play ball with this. The number of people outside there, members of our party, who feel, forget about that. The party is under attack. The leadership of the party is under attack by an individual who is now acting for and on behalf of the Roosevelt-Skerrit regime. The same Roosevelt-Skerrit regime that made itself available for purchase by Ali Reza Monfared. It was not just about the diplomatic passport. This is a man who can boldly come to Dominica and tell them no Caribbean country, no political party in the Caribbean at this time is selling diplomatic passports. The only entity he can accuse of selling diplomatic passports is the United Workers' Party, that has not sold a single diplomatic passport. And he knows that, and he admits that in his statement. But he continues to use the language of selling diplomatic passports in order to detract attention away from what is going on with the government right now. I consider that to be dishonest. I consider that to be despicable. And no, I do not accept advice from dishonest and despicable people, Mr. Raphael. So keep your advice for yourself. Use it to do exactly what you've been doing for yourself with the current government, with the previous one in the United Workers' Party, which is help yourself. Use your advice to help yourself. I don't need any of it, because I don't take advice from people who don't believe in truth, in justice, and in righteousness. Because for you to come to the people of Dominica at this time, when so much fact and truth is known about the escapades of Ali Reza Monfared and the government of Dominica, for you to suggest that you are in Mr. Monfared's corner and trying to advise me that he may get rid of his troubles in Iran so he can come to Dominica to sue me for defamation, it tells me where your heart is. It tells me where your mind is. This is a gentleman who is involved, who's been accused of involvement in the biggest single scandal in Iranian history. And you are in Dominica batting for him after it has been disclosed all of the underhand deals that were going on between himself and the government, which went beyond, by the way, just an ordinary purchase of a diplomatic passport. It was more than that. It was a government making itself available for wholesale purchase by this guy, if he had enough time to do it.
All right, just hold. It's 2 o'clock in Dominica. We have to take some news. It's now new. We have news update at 2 and 3 p.m. Stick around.
Welcome to Q95's 2 o'clock news update for today, Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. In local news, former DAAS President Dr. Clayton Shillingford is calling on the media to send a formal request to the Prime Minister of Dominica, the Dominica Police Force, the Integrity of Public Office, and the Financial Services Unit to make a representative available for questioning on the issue of corruption via the DLP's CBI program. This request comes amid a recent expose of large amounts of evidence currently in circulation regarding some corrupt practices allegedly committed by the DLP administration via the party's Citizenship by Investment program. In more news, a partnership framework agreement endorsed by ministers of government from several Caribbean countries will give targeted guidance for accelerating and advancing action on the sustainable development goals in the region, following the successful conclusion of Caribbean Action 2030 on 30th June 2017. Conference Chair, Jamaica's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, outlined that the draft agreement is to be further reviewed by the participating countries before signing. The framework agreement contains specific undertakings to accelerate action and is completed by an appendix of recommendations, including from youth in the areas of resource mobilization, civil society engagement, research, and capacity building. And United States President Donald Trump's son has released an email chain showing he was keen to accept sensitive information on Hillary Clinton from a Russian national. Publicist Rob Goldstone tells Donald Trump Jr. that there is information that is part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump Jr. replies, "If it's what you say, I love it." The emails led to a meeting in New York with a Russian lawyer. It appears to be the first confirmation that a Trump associate intended a meeting in the expectation of being handed sensitive information from Russian officials. United States officials are currently investigating alleged Russian meddling in the United States general election. That concludes the 2 o'clock news update. I am Richie Farrell with the Q95 News team, wishing you a very pleasant afternoon. Join us again for the 3 p.m. news update right here on Q95.
We are back. Stay tuned for the 3 o'clock news update. Lennox Linton, what we were all waiting for this morning, this statement from Mr. Sam Raphael, the evidence. Were you satisfied, sir, that you got any evidence this morning?
I was very specific, you know, Brad. When I made a call for evidence, by which I mean a body of truth, a body of fact that can validate beliefs or propositions or statements that people are making, I was not querying whether or not Sam Raphael had received money on behalf of United Workers' Party, because I was reliably informed that he did receive money on behalf of United Workers' Party. And so this rattling off of account numbers and amounts received over periods and so on did nothing for me in terms of the evidence that I requested, because I did not dispute, nor did the people in the party I spoke to dispute that he had received money for and on behalf of the party. The question is, what was the money for? He wants the people of Dominica to accept on his say-so that it was for diplomatic passports. But I have not heard that from the other people he was supposedly involved with in the party at the time. Who do I believe? Sam Raphael, who's obviously lying through his teeth for favors from Skerrit right now, trying to destroy the political opposition in order for him to get his monies to build Jungle Bay at Monacuma, to build his cottages and his villas and to sell them and to make his money. Who do I believe? This man who had confidences back in 2004, 2005 of a party he was obviously associated with, didn't find anything wrong with them in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. He all of a sudden has a problem with them in 2017. He had no issue with what he claims he did then. In all of the years that have gone by since 2005, you're only now coming to a recognition that what you were doing or what you claimed you were doing at the time was wrong. But the other people that you claim to have done it with are denying that that is what they were involved in. That is why I wanted to see what I asked for. Evidence, not Sam says so, because there's nothing that Sam Raphael can say that I will believe, because as far as I'm concerned, he has established his downright dishonesty. And he has established the fact that he's prepared to do anything at all to gain the favor of Roosevelt Skerrit in ensuring that he will have passport money to build a new jungle bay at Monacuma after he has gotten his $6.5 million of debt forgiveness and his $4-point-something million of insurance money, all of which he has held for himself.
But as far as you're concerned, he has not come out...
Absolutely not.
No evidence.
As a matter of fact, he has confirmed today, in his statement today, that the United Workers' Party did not sell any diplomatic passports. He has confirmed that straight and plain. But he's also telling you at the same time, I have my politics to play. I have a political party and somebody I don't like to destroy. And therefore...
But he has said he's not political.
He's what?
He has said in that statement he's not
political. And you believe that? So go back in the statement, man. Go and analyze the statement. That's why the media must do its work, you know. Go and analyze the statement objectively and tell me whether or not this is a partisan statement or whether it's an objective statement. Where does Sam Raphael get the authority to declare that no political party in the Caribbean is selling diplomatic passports? Where does he get the authority to declare that? When in Dominica, he must know now, because he talks about me serving up Montferrat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and he's back in Montferrat to get out of Iranian custody
and come sue you
to Dominica to sue me, and that is a non-partisan statement. What is non-partisan about that? That is a statement that puts Sam Raphael in the camp of Montferrat and Roosevelt Skerrit against the best interest of the people of Dominica. Now listen to this. In October of 2014, on the 21st of October, Roosevelt Skerrit sent to Emmanuel Nanton a diplomatic passport application form. That was less than 6 weeks after, or just about, less than 2 months after, Montferrat received his Dominica regular passport in the Alec Lawrence agency of the CBI program. Less than 2 months later, the Prime Minister of Dominica is sending a diplomatic passport application form to Emmanuel Nanton, who passes it to Montferrat on the 22nd of October, the very same day that Montferrat is kicked out of Thailand with his regular Dominica passport. He's expelled from Thailand with his regular Dominica passport. And on that same day, Emmanuel Nanton is sending him the diplomatic passport application form that Skerrit has given him to send to Montferrat. The record is clear that while all that is going on, Montferrat is pumping money from the proceeds of his crime into his Labour Party interests, into Skerrit and his gang in Dominica. But Sam Raphael has no evidence about the diplomatic passport being sold. The diplomatic position is created for him by Skerrit. It is supposed to work alongside Dominica entering diplomatic relations with Malaysia, which never happened. But Montferrat is designated ambassador to Malaysia with his Dominica diplomatic passport. But up to a day like today, Dominica has not entered into diplomatic relations with Malaysia. All along, Montferrat is shelling out money. Nothing is going to Montferrat by way of benefit from Dominica, and Montferrat is doing nothing for Dominica. Montferrat is pumping money into the Skerrit cabal. Trips to Malaysia, jet rides to China, undisclosed gifts, money for campaign, you name it, it piles up. It doesn't amount to the sale of a diplomatic passport as far as Sam Raphael is concerned, you know. The only entity that has ever sold a diplomatic passport in the Caribbean, in Sam Raphael's estimation, is the United Workers' Party, which he claims did not have the opportunity to conclude the sale, but they sold. They did not have the opportunity to conclude the sale, but they made a sale.
Mr. Lennox Linton, his gloves are off. You can clearly tell it's 2:10. This is the talk on the block. Talk to me.
Matt, I'm sorry, but normally I don't call back on these matters. Lennox, a very good afternoon to you. This is Clayton Shingford. What I would like to know, Matt and Lennox, if there were any illegalities conducted with regard to these transactions with the passports, why don't we find out from resident lawyers, call them in and ask them for an opinion? Because if there were any illegalities, the people who have committed the illegalities should be brought to answer to the Dominican people for what they have done. These stories that are going around, that passports were being peddled all over the world, monies were coming in, and the monies were not going into the government coffers, but going to support political campaigns and going into the pockets of individuals. Clearly, that cannot be a legal activity. We need to get to the bottom of this thing. The country is in crisis, and we need to get out of this mess that we're in. And the only way we're going to do it is to bring the people before the courts who are responsible for conducting whatever illegal activities that they have conducted in the past. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Do you know, I mean, if there were any illegalities, Mr. Lennox Linton?
Illegalities with respect to?
Illegalities in terms of monies getting to accounts and monies being spent in that way?
Man, listen to what happened with monies moved into the Portsmouth filling station, the Portsmouth petrol station or service station of Emmanuel Nanton. Emmanuel Nanton has provided the account information for that account to the people in the Labuan district in Malaysia who are sending Montferrat's money on Montferrat's behalf to him. And on one occasion, he says to them, I think I will have problems withdrawing from the bank. That is why I had asked for it to go into Alec Lawrence's client account instead. Now, that sounds very, very iffy and suspicious to me. And I'm wondering why you haven't heard anything from Alec Lawrence, or why you haven't heard anything from Emmanuel Nanton, why you haven't heard any statement from the government of Dominica, but you have Sam Raphael bright and early this morning issuing a statement which is non-partisan, but which flies the flag and carries the narrative and the message of the Dominica Labour Party on these matters. Why isn't Emmanuel Nanton concerned that he would have difficulty getting the money out of Scotiabank and that it should have gone into the client account of Alec Lawrence instead? Suggests to me that Emmanuel Nanton felt something was wrong. Whatever was wrong, he has not disclosed, so I don't know and I don't want to guess. But we have a problem in Dominica where, for example, in 2017, February, the government's citizenship by investment account at the Royal Bank of Canada with $258 million was shut down, and the government was given back its money. The government could only have become the subject of that treatment because Royal Bank felt the monies it was handling on behalf of the government were too risky for its money laundering compliance, anti-money laundering compliance responsibilities, and its compliance responsibilities as well in terms of counteracting the financing of terrorism. Those are the two issues that banks around the world are so concerned and caught up with right now. Why there's all this know your customer, know your customer's customer, and your customer's customer, etc., to prevent the banking system now from handling and moving tainted money. To the extent that Ali Reza Monfared was involved in the busting of sanctions, which is a crime against humanity, there are arguments that can be made that much of his monies came from the proceeds of crime for which he's being tried right now in Iran. And our government operatives were right there, taking everything they can, including private jets to Malaysia. And in order to keep the public focus away from that, while they themselves are not talking, they send a man who they have hired, I would say, to destroy the political opposition and to attack the credibility of the political opposition's voice in dealing with these important matters. What Sam Raphael is saying, he doesn't want to hear about Monfared. What Sam Raphael is saying, I'm entitled to my $6.5 million from the government in debt forgiveness. I'm entitled to my insurance money. I don't have to pay back a cent on the debt. And I'm also entitled to new money now from the sale of passports for my new establishment down there. That is what I'm expecting from this government. I have gotten some of it already. In order for the job to be completed and for me to get all of it, I am going to do the best I can to destroy Lennox Linton and to destroy the United Workers' Party. And the United Workers' Party people must understand, this is your party. It is more your party than it is mine. So all of the members of the party across the country, yes, your party is under systematic attack by the Labour Party using Sam Raphael, who used to be in the United Workers' Party camp before, built up a lot of credibility of United Workers' Party people, but now is being used in a deal with the Dominican Labour Party to bring down the United Workers' Party, so that no longer will we hear about the corruption and the damaging and the disgracing of the name of Dominica in the international community. The Labour Party will have silenced that forever and ever. Amen. Here the point, how is it that Sam Raphael is so claimed to be so concerned about dirty linen in public, etc., but the only person he feels washes any dirty linen in public is Lennox Linton? I believe that when things are wrong with our country, we as patriots must speak. Patriotism and national interest is not just about singing Kumbaya. It's not just about looking for ourselves and taking millions and millions in debt forgiveness from a government that wants you to do dirty work for it. It's not about that. And I hear in the statement this morning, oh, I didn't receive any money. Who asked you that question? Did you ask the question?
No.
Did you ask Mr. Raphael whether he received any money?
I didn't have the chance to.
But you said that. Or you don't have the chance to anymore?
I don't know about
Oh, really?
I received a statement.
Or you received the statement?
Yes. Recorded and sent.
That's what you've been reduced to, Matt? You had so many engagements.
I hope not. I hope not.
You have so many engagements where the gentleman is here answering questions, so he doesn't come here anymore?
Well, I'm going to ask him that. 218, hello, on the telephone.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes, hello.
And good afternoon to Honorable, believable Lennox Linton.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Matt, I find that interesting, You see, Sam Raphael, to me, appears to a man that's frustrated, and he's really looking for help, and he has to do something to get recognition. Matt, why is it that Monfared would have to leave prison, hoping that Monfared, why is Sam would want to think and believe that, and hope that Monfared get a break to come and sue Mr. Lennox Linton, when it's not only Monfared's name that was mentioned in the email transaction? Because there are other characters. Why the characters that there right now in Dominica? Why aren't they challenging Mr. Lennox and taking him to court? Why does Monfared have to be released by the Iranians to come?
I don't know what happened there, my friend also, but your telephone seemed to have, gone out of commission. It sounds like this child was not allowed to socialize. I wonder why. That we were talking about something else. Somebody saying, Sam, I love blue bugs and ham for breakfast. Non-Montferrat, okay? Hello, talk to me.
Yes, hi, Matt. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Matt, I'm on the same page as Mr. Linton. That statement, you have to really listen to it and listen to it again, dissect it, analyze it, and really get the crux of the matter. You listen to this statement, it sounds almost like a speech that they prepared for Skerrit, intended to resign. This sounds like Skerrit through and through whatever he read out. You just listen to it. That's not the words Sam would have sat down and wrote out for himself. This was written out for him, and it sounds like they gave him Skerrit's speech instead of whatever he had to say this morning. And all this stuff, this guy is rambling. He's just implicating himself. He's making statements. I don't know if he had a chance to sit down and listen to this speech again or this statement that he made, because he is digging such a big hole for himself. I don't think any legal counsel in Dominica is able to take him out of it. So he needs to take his own advice in that statement, sit down, reflect upon it, and start doing damage control.
All right, somebody says here to me in a WhatsApp message, let me read this to you. Man, can someone sell what they do not own? Sam is suggesting that he is, in other words, involved in, I want to get a term here. There's some money laundering here. To be involved in getting men to contribute money for the sale of something that he knew that the UWP did not own. Life is so fragile, somebody says. We should put our selfish, material, greedy interests above what is true. I'm just hearing too, there was a drug bust in Kingsfield earlier. We'll follow that story. But we'll take more phone calls. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes,
Matt, I want you to do, not Lennox Clinton, not UWP, a favor. I want you to do Sam Raphael a favor, please.
What's that?
That statement there, the longer it is played, the deeper the hole going to be for Sam. So please stop playing that, because it really sounds foolish. I listened to it once and twice, and I do not want to hear it again.
You don't want to hear it again. All right. So we will try to see if we can adhere to your request. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon. Mr. Linton.
Yes.
Mr. Linton, you claim that you want evidence from Sam Raphael, and the evidence that you wanted was MOU contract, something signed that on receiver.
Matt, I've explained myself on that score already. I don't know why it's been rehashed. I've explained myself very clearly on that matter, that there was no issue with the statement that Mr. Raphael was involved in the party financing, the campaign, the financing of the 2005 campaign, and did in fact receive monies on behalf of the party. What I challenged, based on my conversations with people in the party with whom Mrs. Raphael was interacting at the time, was whether he received money from people on the promise that they were going to get diplomatic passports. So I am not prepared to accept Mr. Raphael's say-so. I think in my view, he's a despicably dishonest person based on what has transpired so far this year. And I do not believe that I can trust his word, and therefore I ask him, since I'm not going to accept on his say-so that diplomatic passports were sold or promised or were put on some give you later plan after money has been received. I wanted to see the evidence he had. Apart from what he is saying, which I do not believe because I think he's lying.
All right, caller.
Yes, Matt.
I'm here.
Hello?
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
But Mr. Linton. Upon your disbelief of Sam Raphael, what about if I say that I don't believe you because you are not honest, because you are convicted?
But that would be your choice.
But of course you can decide you want to believe me or not. What is the problem with that? You're talking about conviction of the boss. I was involved in a civil suit 2002 for certain statements I made about Mr. Pinard Burns' responsibility for the Layu River project, and he took issue with some of the statements I made. He prevailed in the court. A lot of people are going around the place suggesting that that certifies me as a liar. It is foolishness. Mr. Pinard Burns himself was in court in the British Virgin Islands and was branded a manufacturer of evidence. A manufacturer of evidence is a certified liar by the court. The court says I did not present evidence. The court has never said I lied, you know. The court said I did not present the evidence that so and so was the case. In the case of Mr. Pinard Burns, the court branded him as a manufacturer of evidence, which means court certified dishonesty.
Okay, are we still around? Yes?
Yes, I am there. Matt, you are journalist, right? And anytime you go to court, someone take you to court for defamation of character, and you lose the case.
It doesn't mean that. I know where you want to go. It doesn't really mean that. Sometimes you might not present the evidence. No, I'm not going to allow you to say that here. Hello, talk to me.
Hi, good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon, Honorable Lennox Linton.
Yes.
The man that will come with credible information. Mr. Linton, we as the patriots of Dominica are calling on Mr. Sam Raphael to give Dominica back its $6 million of its passport money. We want the money for the love of country to develop our country. So, Mr. Raphael, if you're listening, you got our passport, you sold it, you made business with it, you maybe benefited from it. Give us our money, please.
All right, caller, thank you very much. We're going to move on. It's 2:26. We have to take a break. And let's just take a phone call before we do that. Hello.
Hello, Matt.
The
more I listen to that tape, is Mr. Raphael is just digging a hole for himself. Because as far as I listen, is he who introduced the people, he get the money, he have the stubs. So he was part of it. So why he want to say Lennox was in it?
2:26. Taking a break and then we'll come back. This is Q9 to 5. Hello.
When last have you been to LA Jupini Hardware? That long? Well then, come in to see what's new in stock. Kitchenware, pots, pans, plumbing and bathroom accessories, small appliances, garden tools, a full range of cutlasses, and so much more. Take advantage of our layaway option. Set up a gift registry for that special occasion, or pick up that much-needed item for your home or garden. Come home to quality at our convenient location on Long Lane in Roseau. LA Jupini Hardware.
Come home to quality at LA Jupini. Swing by for quality.
Can't stand the heat and humidity these days? EMS Limited has the most energy-efficient inverter AC units on island. Save up to 60% on your energy cost. Invest in a Lennox inverter AC unit. Sizes from 12,000 BTU upwards. Cool, quiet, comfortable, sturdy construction, reliable and efficient. 1-year warranty. Installed and serviced by qualified factory-trained technicians. No more heat, no more high bills with our Lennox inverter AC units. Call us today for your free survey and financing options. 255-6813. Website www.emscaribbean.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. The 2017 Team Madame Canada Cultural Pageant is coming. Sunday, September 10th at the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center at 888 Progress Avenue, Scarborough in Toronto, Canada. Showtime starts 2 p.m. sharp. Come see Les Jeunes Étoiles, the adorable young stars in their lovely WAP duets. The Team Madame Canada Cultural Pageant, Sunday, September 10th. Entertainment, dance, culture, cuisine, all for just $10 for adults and $5 for children. Our adorable contestants will thrill you with their energy and style. Come see Dominica's own young stars at the 2017 Team Madame Canada Cultural Pageant, Sunday, September 10th at the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center. That's 888 Progress Avenue, Scarborough in Toronto.
House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1, House Party Volume 1. Hot Bawi pour Glambé, Hot Capricien pour Kachako, Mouna Lage, Glamoun, tout le monde. Stima 6e août, Stima 6e août, on the strip, Lale Coco. House Party Volume 1. Ogwa Boom Super, Ogwa Bal Extraordinaire, Prospect Island, Mr. Mix aussi. DJ Flintastic, DJ Mafia, Oprah, Martin the Morning, Prince Wadik Skylar. Is this a Golden State Warriors or a Brazil lineup? House Party Volume 1. Look at where ting down Tutland with Sports Ukaides and Soca Compa Reggae Country and Western Sports Disco Kadans Siamenam Tout Qualité Musique Large Mene Mawizo, Mene Crabs, Mene Chicks, Mene Buzo Chick Mene Secret Bezo C'est $20 Selma only $20 Look at Danse Kole Arms in Arms Vijaya Vijay House Party Volume 1 sponsorized by Starring and Sons Digicel DBS Radio QFM the big station Max Roy Trading JB Plumbing Davos Big Ed Sky FM Tony Sponge Gator South Mopping 2K4A Autre Messieurs Mesdames House Party Volume 1 6e août Lale Coco on the street Sakay Man.
We are back. Dominica. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. Hold down for another call. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just want to advise you that you must be sure that you're in for a long run. That fight will be relentless. Sam is going to keep coming at you because he's been paraded, as you know. He's not going to get anywhere until he go at Lennox Clinton. You know? Until he go at you and go at you and go at you, he'll get nothing from Monakuma. You with me?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Put on your boxing glove ball and do not get too irritated. Don't let him get under your skin. Just be cool. Bring out the fact. That's what you're best at. Bring out the truth. Bring out honesty. That's what you're known for. Right, partner? He will keep coming at you. He's not going to stop. You don't have a choice. And the man's so hopeless, Clinton, that the man telling us his lawyer asked him to seal the file and bring it to the AG office. You know what they're going to do with him? They're going to hold it there to blackmail him. Have you seen that, Clinton?
Yeah, no, but I'm wondering, you know, you can seal a file that is about monies you received for the campaign of a political party in 2005, and you can put it in the hands of the Attorney General. But
who you were trying to campaign against?
But the same Attorney General now, you have no file for that Attorney General regarding the truthfulness behind your non-payment of the loan of over $6 million
but Linton,
from the people of Dominica. You have no file for the Attorney General.
But Linton, the Attorney General is the head of the legal team of the government, and they are the ones who decide not to represent in order that the matter fall and Sam enjoys millions of dollars. Don't you realize what's happening? Now, while we're giving you that, we want one on you. You have incriminated yourself. You have given a lot of evidence of yourself that can be used in a money laundering case against you tomorrow, next week, whenever we're ready for you. So you better go at Clinton as long as we ask you. Just go at that little black boy from Marigot. If you stop, we have the file on you. You give us evidence on yourself that is tantamount to money laundering. You know what I'm saying, Lennox?
I'm understanding you very clearly, and I've said to Sam Raphael and the people of Dominica already, if that is what he has to do to get the money to build Monakuma, to the extent that it is going to result in jobs and foreign exchange, I'm prepared to make the sacrifice. But do not come and pretend that it is something else, because that is exactly what it is.
But Lennox, can't you see the timing of his press conference? When was the press conference, Lennox?
It wasn't a press conference.
The press
it was a
statement issued this morning. This morning.
I issued the statement, was scheduled to go out about 10, and I released it about 9:20.
But Matt, Can't you see the timing of it? Lennox just hit them, bombshell. They want to get the country distracted. You understand what I'm saying? So let's tell little boy Sam, little black boy Sam, go there and throw that against Lennox Linton. Go there and attack him, distract the people. But you know what I heard Tony Stefan said? The day after, Lennox mashed them up in that media, bringing up all the evidence, nailing them, clear evidence to have them arrested at the appropriate time. You know what Tony Stefan said to Simeon? My brother Simeon, we have done a good job. Please look out for the detractors. Cut them off as soon as they come. The man said that openly, you know. You know, you tell a man in secret, boss, don't allow fellas to kill our high, you know. They can come in through, just cut them off. You expect a man to say that in secret? The man said that live on the program, Matt. You see like that guy that called from St. Thomas? I'm happy you giving them the fair chance. But he was trying to drag your program into some garbage. I'm happy you didn't allow that, Matt. Again, they have a job to do, which Tony said, don't allow it on the other radio station. You understand? But we want to hear all sides on your radio station. But I'm happy you didn't allow him to drag your program into the same garbage the other program going into on the other radio station. You understand what I'm saying, bro?
I follow you.
But in a nutshell, what we see happening there is Lennox keep digging and digging and digging. Lennox, no unit bodyguard. Because those of us are talking when them fellas realize they cannot shut us up. Who knows what they will do? They have big links. They have the Venezuelans. They have the Chinese that are very good at poisoning people. They can poison you on the door of your vehicle, on the door of your home. You have to be as careful as possible, boss. All of us. Because when they realize they cannot shut us up, they cannot stop us no matter how much lawsuit they bring. We will still continue to fight for our country, Matt. And more than, Matt, me personally, if a man believes by attacking me, he's going to stop me, make a mistake. It's free will you're giving me, boss. Maybe this is not me. You know, I may feel like boy, the man not taking me on. I may go quiet. When you see you step up to attack me, I step up the attack against you too. That's why I will call him. I will call Lennox and tell him, the guys that going at you, do not allow them to stop you. The Lennox Lawrence, the Roselle Skerrit, the Tony Stefan, the Simeon, those guys there, they will attack you with no baseless allegations about you, Lennox Linton. What you've stood up for is true righteousness. You know what I'm saying, boss? And do not allow them to let you to bring you to distraction.
Okay, caller, thank you. We're going to have to move on, though. It's 2:36, so we're taking a break. Hello, talk to me.
Hello. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
And good afternoon to Lennox.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
A question. We've all are talking about diplomatic passport that have been sold and other passport, whatever. And that Mr. Raphael said when all the transaction, he said he was there when all the transaction was done.
Yes.
Wasn't Mr. Julius Timothy the Minister of Finance at the time?
No, he was still the Minister of Finance? No, he was never the Minister of Finance, though. No. Hello, talk to me. Hello?
Hello, Matt.
He was Minister of Finance under the Opposition United Workers' Party, not the Labour Party. Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, Matt. This is Luge, Pal Rep.
Hello.
Enough. I know as opposition leader it can feel like a very lonely perch for our political leader, Honorable Lennox Linton. But we would like to let him know that he is not alone. Rosa North stands steady and steadfast with Honorable Lennox Linton. Anytime you stand for truth, justice and righteousness and you will not relent, they will come after you. But let me let you know that his largest constituency on Ireland, Rosa North, and the parliamentary representative, Daniel Uge, stand steadfast, head to head, shoulder to shoulder with you. Be strong, my friend. Be strong.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lennox Linton, a lot of people have been asking questions this week about some $300 you have requested to be paid to Peanut Byrne. What is this about?
Mr. Peanut Byrne has already been paid over $160,000 on this court matter. And I'm offering to pay him a certain amount of money every month, you know. So he has gotten all hot and bothered and is issuing press statements left, right, and center and going on the media. It seems as though every time I do something in order to move the process forward, he gets upset because he wants to dictate what should happen. And he is in this persistent state of anger where Lennox Linton is concerned, almost like he said recently that may my dreams turn to dust. He's not aware that his curse on me has come true and my dreams has turned to dust. When my dreams turn to dust, where am I affording more than $300 or $200 a month to pay him? I'm not in the passport selling business. You know, I'm the son of a
humble citizen.
A humble citizen. You know, just living within the restrictions and responsibilities of Dominica.
Hello, we're moving on. It's 2:39. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matthew.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Honorable Lennox Linton. Hello.
Good afternoon to you. Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're right here.
Yes, I'm good.
Good.
I'm just concerned. No weapon from against you shall prosper. Mr. Lennox Linton, let me tell you, it seems as though a lot of people that come to Dominica, make their home in Dominica, not from Dominica, they have a problem with you. They want to see you vanish, but not in Dominica that is happening, not under our watch. And you have a good man from Salisbury, a man with all the good things to tell you. Shillingford, oh, this man, we are for you. Don't you worry. Take care, love you.
Okay, take care, love you too.
Take care of yourself.
Let's take a phone call. Hello.
Yes, it's like they have a plan for Mr. Lennox Linton because last night Roosevelt Skerrit said at a meeting that when they finish with him in that lawsuit they have against him, he might have to be cleaning up, taking care of his yard for him, his Skerrit yard. But tell him Lennox will not be taking care of his yard. We will be standing up with Mr. Lennox Linton through thick and thin. And he's asking if it's on the radio alone Mr. Lennox Linton can be. Mr. Lennox has to defend himself. He haven't got Tony Astafan to defend him. He haven't got no lawyer to spin top in mud for him. He has to speak the truth for himself. So tell Skerrit to will and come again. Have a good day.
What was that statement made? Because I didn't hear it.
I heard about it. I didn't hear it.
You heard about it. You heard it. Because another reporter is asking me to have Mr. Lennox Linton speak about that. But I didn't hear it myself.
About what?
About the fact that, not the fact, but the suggestion that Mr. Skerrit, made a statement about lawsuits, and after the end of it, you might end up working. Is he had something?
He was making those statements after a major expose on the recklessness of his government and the poor leadership that he's providing for this government and the poor leadership example.
And we've not heard a response.
And there's no response. His response is to denigrate me, who is basically in the role of messenger for Dominica, saying, listen, this is not right. We need to set it right so that things could go right in our Dominica family. Instead of addressing the matter, he knows he cannot dispute the truth and fact. So he comes out and he sets his base against me. He's trying to ridicule me, he's trying to denigrate me.
Change the issue.
Demonize me as they usually do. I don't know when it is going to sink in to their heads that does not deter me. And he's talking about if radio is the only place I can be. When last was I here, man, hosting a program? Mr. Skerrit is on the media all the time. He's on GIS practically every day, giving out this and giving out that. And he's what? He's concerned about some limited media appearances that I'm privileged to make from time to time.
Somebody was. I'm going to try my very best to play you the exact words of Mr. Skerrit. Hello, talk to me.
But I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not.
All right. Hello.
I don't.
You don't get there. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, good afternoon, and good afternoon to Honorable Lennox Linton.
Hello. Yes.
A man who stands up for truth, righteousness, and justice.
Right.
Something that is very scarce now among Dominicans. Okay.
So Lennox, you have to stay on the winning side according to Pastor Rodney and Pastor Jack and them. Okay? And the song says, wait a cool, just take Hillary recipe. Just wait a cool, just give it to them. Cool and deadly.
All right.
Because Matt.
Yes, I'm here.
Matt, who that some people that brooks like me allowing themselves to be used? Maybe you can excuse them because they say necessity is the mother of invention. But who that not brooks like me, who that work and they draw, they still allowing themselves to be used. But I suspect, you see that envelope, I suspect that envelope have the design of plenty little Vienna sausages in the border. And it's addressed to the mammies of Dominica. Not daddies, not aunts, not uncles. To the mammies of Dominica. Let us take care of yourself, and who God bless, no man curse.
All right, caller. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We've already heard from the opposition leader that he's not going to respond, but you know, some statement was made troubling a lot of Mr. Lennox's fans out there and supporters of the United Workers' Party. We keep trying, but it's just not coming up. Maybe some other time. Hello, talk to me.
I deal with issues, man. Issues.
All right, hello, talk to me.
Hi, man. Good afternoon. And good afternoon to the honorable leader of the parliamentary opposition.
Good afternoon, honorable sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Matt, I just called basically to first support to the honorable leader and ask him to be firm and to continue to be relentless in his efforts to straighten the crooked in Dominica. The people of the Roseau South constituency are behind you, sir. And I just want to fortify you with strength and to ask you to continue to trust in the Lord as you pursue to make Dominica the best place to live, the best place to enjoy life, and the best place to work. Matter, have yourself a good afternoon, and may your listeners enjoy lunch.
All right, thank you
very much. That's,
all right, it's 246. Hello.
Good afternoon, man.
Yes.
Matt, you heard my response this morning on the matter in respect to the gentleman. The truth is that I heard him talk about we, the island, possesses all what it takes to develop. All we need is to work together. Matt, we have been stretching out our hands, giving our ideas to work together. But critically, Matt, in the absence of an international airport, Sam Raphael, no, we're not going anywhere. He, for years, have been advocating that we need no international airport. What we need is a small airline. He tried one and it failed, Matt. This administration is now joining voices with us, the United Workers' Party, claiming that they are going to build an airport. So outside of the construction of an international airport, coming together make no sense. What we need is the construction of the airport, and then we move forward. But Sam also talked about he was not involved in the Workers' Party. You're not involved in the Workers' Party, and you're allegedly moving this amount of money for them. Matt, I want to say to Mr. Linton, we have serious challenges in the opposition. Millions of dollars against us. People are literally giving money on a weekly, on a monthly basis. 3,000, 6,000, 8,000, and now millions of dollars. Debt forgiveness of up to $6 million. We have to remain focused. As chairperson of the Wesley Constituency Association of the United Workers' Party, we are fully behind you. Moral support, financial support, all the necessary support you need. Do not be afraid. We know we have a challenge ahead. But with your leadership style and skill, we will be victorious.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And of course, the numbers are 449-3095. The leader of the opposition United Workers Party. Let me just ask Lennox, have you been invited to the other radio stations?
Yeah, we had a couple of, well, the first invitation was for a couple Thursdays ago. It didn't work out because they were not, well, we had asked for that Thursday. They'd given us a range of dates and we picked that Thursday. Then when the time came, they said they couldn't facilitate it. So we had said, well, you know, let's go Thursday of last week. And then I don't recall that they came back to confirm, but in any event, I was not well last Thursday, so I couldn't make it.
All right.
And that made a huge federal case, I understand.
But you welcome the invite, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Okay, thank you very much. 4493095. Hello. Hello. Hello, nobody there? Is listening and not listening at the same time. 249.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Matt, and of course, good afternoon to the Honorable One,
Yes.
Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you know, we had to just leave Sam Raphael and stop playing his nonsense because he's a joke. Remember when we were growing up, one of the things our parents, teachers taught us was, show me your company and I will tell you who you are. Also, if you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. These brothers are about to itch very much and you have to scratch and you're going to be looking for hands and fingers to scratch. All right? The Honorable One stands firm. We with you. And like Honorable Ninja told you, well, I call him Ninja, but Daniel Luge tell you, rose enough solid.
All right, caller. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Matt, good afternoon.
Uh-huh.
Good afternoon to Honorable Linton.
Yes.
Mr. Linton.
Good afternoon.
Whatever people wish for you, they better be careful what they wish because it will turn back on them. We are praying hard for you. The same way they have people praying for them, we have people praying for you too. And don't worry, whatever curse they wish for you, it has to fall back on them and take care of the ball for mercy.
Talk on the block. Good afternoon. Hello. We have just about 8 minutes. We have the news coming up. 3. Hello.
Yes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what the question I have for Mr. Sam Raphael is that
But Mr. Sam Raphael is not here.
He's going to be getting for this new Jungle Bay in Soufriere. I hope the arrangement is not full of holes so that he will get away again.
I thought you were asking a question. You're making a statement here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello, talk to me. I thought you were about to ask Sam Raphael a question. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Matt.
251.
Question for Mr. Linton. Mr. Linton, when are you ever going to learn? Why do you keep making the same mistakes?
What mistake did you make? Did he make, caller? Tell me.
No, we're listening. I'm listening.
Hello?
His big mouth.
Is that a mistake? I mean, if you're asking a question, that's a question. Mr. Lennox Linton is quite competent. Hello?
Yes.
Well, you haven't asked a question. You're making a statement.
I'm asking him, when is he ever going to learn? That's my question.
When is he learn about what, caller? Anyway.
Next question.
Hello.
Next caller.
I'm looking for a question, caller. I accommodate all kind of questions
we
here.
learn every day.
Hello. Thank you. Hello. Caller, are you there? No, you're not. We're moving on. Hi. No more. Hello? Somebody there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They will say he has big mouth because they want everything.
No, you're responding to the lady. Go ahead.
They want everything that has happened to stay undercover, but nothing that's undercover must be exposed. Thank you.
Hello. Talk to me. Hi.
Hi, man. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Brother, good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know, big brother. No weapon that form against you shall prosper. Tell Spirit you will never work on his farm. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, talk to me. Mr. Lennox Linton has said he's not going to respond to petty issues this afternoon. Hello, talk to me. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. My brother Lennox.
How you doing?
What's up, bro? What's up?
And just keep doing that work, bro. They ain't here wrong too yet. They don't hear wrong too yet. So just keep doing that thing, my brother. This mission is on. Nothing stopping that, man. It's just truth and righteousness. You hear me? Truth and righteousness. Just be careful and watch how you walk.
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Thanks for the advice there. 253. Hello.
Lennox, I'll be a madman. That's Guada. I'll be a madman from the vote for you.
Where is that coming from, caller? We're talking about voting.
But 253. But that's his preference. It's his choice. So he just expressed it. That's fine.
Yeah, he chose to vote for who he wants, huh? Yeah. Hello, talk to me. We're not talking about voting here, caller. Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
Good afternoon, man.
Uh-huh.
Good afternoon, Lennox. How do you do?
Good afternoon, Senator Baptiste. How are you doing?
Mike, I'm good. Matt, Sam Raphael seems to be in a real desperate situation to get his project going and moving, because I cannot understand how a gentleman at his level would want to even implicate himself just for him to either damage United Workers' Party, Lennox Linton, or to try to get access to money on the agreement that he has with the government. So the gentleman seems to be in a very desperate situation. However, I believe that the government and Sam Raphael needs to explain to Dominicans, we the people of Dominica, why is it the government interest in the property of Jungle Bay was never protected? Because there is evidence that at least up to 2002, he was required to do the necessary things to ensure that the government has the interest in the insurance to the property, as well as the title in respect of that property. So the government needs to explain to Dominicans, because 2002 the Labour Party was in government. Up to 2002, at least I'm aware that Mr. Sam Raphael was required to take the necessary measures to ensure that the state was protected, interest was protected in the insurance in respect of Jungle Bay, as well as the title. So somebody needs to explain why Dominica's interest was never protected.
All right, we're going to take 2 more phone calls and we'll allow Mr. Lennox Linton to wrap it up here on Talk on the Block. Very powerful program in the afternoon. Hello.
Very powerful program indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Dominica is in a sinking boat. And that government, or Mr. Security in particular.
Caller, I guess you need to put some credits or something. 2555. Hello.
Mr. Linton, Mr. Matt, very blessings to you.
Sir. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
My brethren, you're not exposed to the dangers of this sick place more than anybody else, but do not let down your guard, because they're desperate, and it's more than desperation with some. Some is about being very vengeful, very spiteful. Some is extremely and excessively disappointed with his overambitiousness and his insincerity. It is sad and sickening to see where we are, but that is the reality. I'll continue to pray for the both of all you. You are 2 of my favorite people. God bless.
Thank you very much. All right, let's take 2 more. Yes, 2 more phone calls. Hello, talk to me. 4493095. Hello.
Matt.
Yes, quickly.
Good afternoon again.
Mm-hmm.
In democracy, you must have a speaker, a leader of the opposition with a big mouth. Why? The same reason why Sam Raphael said they have to work together to keep the government's hands on the steering wheel. You remember he said that? Yeah. So he must speak when he sees that the government is carrying the treasury on board and is abusing the treasury. He has his hands under the treasury dress.
Well, you see, I'm happy you're the one who responded to the lady earlier about the big mouth. But the leader of the opposition, United Workers' Party, has chosen not to respond. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, Belgium, what's up? The trucker, listen to the big station.
All right, we have a minute and a half. Quickly.
Yeah, Mr. Linton, good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon to you, sir. The stone that the builder refuses shall be the head cornerstone. Just be strong, stay focused. And about last week they had a dream, and usually my dream, trust me, that they come and get Mr. Scarrett, man. Trust me. It's funny. I'll talk to you about it some more. Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Lennox Linton, you have 60 seconds to wrap up.
I believe in self-definition, and I am happy with the party I lead. I'm privileged to lead at this time. We have a good team offering good things for Dominica in terms of its progress and development. And it is incumbent on me, as the leader of the party, to defend the party wherever there are scurrilous attacks on the integrity of the leadership of the party. And it is a responsibility from which I will not retreat. It's a responsibility which I will not surrender. So the good Lord above did not say that weapons will not be formed against me. All he said was that the weapons will not prosper. So we've seen them being formed, they will not prosper.
Thank you very much.
God bless you, man.
We'll be back tomorrow on the Hot Seat.
Welcome to Q95's 3 o'clock news update for Monday, July 10th, 2017. In news this afternoon, Q95 FM has received information regarding a defamation case filed by La Plaine Village Councillor Jason Fontaine against Education Minister Peter Serjeant. Fontaine says he's
Welcome to the top of the hour news for today, Tuesday, July 11th. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is promising to pay attention to students who return back to Dominica after completing their studies abroad in this year's budget. I think that we have to find a way of rewarding those who come back to the service of the Commonwealth of Dominica, he told those gathered at a town hall meeting in Roseau South on Monday. Acknowledging the difficulties and financial burdens of returning students, Prime Minister Skerrit says he will be articulating a position on that in the upcoming budget. Guyana's Minister of Public Security, Kamraj Ramjatan, says authorities have the situation regarding prisoners under control following Sunday evening's fiery riot that resulted in the country's main jail being almost completely destroyed, a prison officer dead, and inmates on the run. The number of confirmed escapees has risen to 5, authorities now saying. And the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is investigating an apparent near miss involving an Air Canada flight at San Francisco's airport. It says flight AC-759 from Toronto was cleared to land on a runway last Friday, but the pilot inadvertently lined up for a taxiway where 4 aircrafts were waiting to depart. An air traffic controller became aware of the problem and ordered the pilot to pull up and make another approach. The Airbus 320 then landed safely. And that concludes your news update. I am Lakisha Lavaser. Join us again at 4 for another top of the hour news update.
I need a fast cash to get me started, cause I want to get ahead in life. When times get rough, you don't have to be tough. Fast cash will make it right. Fast cash.
Get the cash advance you need.
Fast cash.
In just 2 hours.
Fast cash.
Up to $8,000 can be yours.
Fast cash. I need fast cash to get me started, cause I want to get ahead in life. No matter what the problem, fast cash can solve it. Fast cash will make it right. Fast cash.
Fast cash. Your money, your way.
I need a fast cash to get me started, cause I want to get ahead in life. When times get rough, you don't have to be tough. Fast cash will make it right. Fast cash.
Get the cash advance you need.
Fast cash.
In just 2 hours.
Fast cash.
Up to $8,000 can be yours.
Fast cash. I need fast cash to get, cause I want to get ahead in life. No matter what the problem, your happiness will be connected to make it right. Fast cash.
Fast cash. Your money, your way.
It's the Courts Home Event. Shop today and complete your kitchen, your dining room, and your entertainment room. Shop using Ready Finance. It's easy, affordable, and flexible credit. Plus, you pay nothing down on purchases 24 months and over. So come in today and get great deals to complete your home at the Courts Home Event. Courts, bringing value home.